Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Please let me know. Someone in the chat? Yes, beautiful. Thank you. I see the room is nice and full, and so lovely. Thank you very much and welcome. First of all, we'd just like to say sorry for the past couple of weeks. We've been down with the technology and we've had some problems, so apologies for that. But we're back on, and I also wanted to say that dang, I forgot what I was actually I had something important to say. Nonetheless, it'll come to me. Today, what I want to do is to do the 4 religious seasons again. In other words, I want to go back to Capricorn, Aries, Libra, and we want to do that. And then I want to show how the natural science of astrotheology merges perfectly with astrology. So we're going to finish with astrology. All right, so that's what's happening today. So pretty much I'm going to carry over, since we're still in the sign of Aries. We're still in the sign of the Lamb, so we might as well continue with that theme. As I promised, there's a little bit more to do with that. Lovely. Okay. Cindy, was there anything you need to say before we started, or probably not? Okay. Now, so starting with the graph, remember last week we did actually begin with this. Now, this is the natural science that we're basing everything on. Okay, so it's all science, the science of light. Light is described here perfectly. The sun, as it goes through the equator and it goes up to the summer months to reach the Tropic of Cancer, increases in light. And when it goes below the equator in the winter months, it decreases in light. So this is teaching us about light. We have summer over here, we have winter over here. Now, carefully on this map, they were careful hundreds of years ago to place the exact constellations that the sun would be behind, or the constellations would be behind the sun at the time. And here they show the stars of Aries immediately after the ecliptic. Now, I want to explain that because, of course, there is precessional slippage. So in this segment of the skies, Aries does not appear, but the stars of Pisces appear. And so what we're going to do is we're going to follow this science, folks. I don't want to labor the point with this because I've done this many, many times in my presentations, and I did covered this quite well in the last presentation. So, but I will refer back to this. Now, whiteboard again. So what we're going to do is we're going to revisit the celebrations, the holy celebrations of the year. And so going by that graph, when we draw the Earth and the equator, so there's the equator separating the 2 hemispheres, and above here we have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And on the 21st of March, the sun passes the equator, and that happened 3 weeks ago on the 21st of March. So then the sun commences to climb up to the Tropic of Cancer, reaches the Tropic of Cancer after 3 months. I hope you can see me clearly, because I'm getting a very blurry screen feeding back to me. So not good. Yeah, we need to expand. Yeah, I thought so. It's looking really, really blurry. Now, I don't have many applications open either, so I don't think... No, all right. I don't think I can fix that now, unfortunately, folks, so we'll have to put up with that. So we reach the Tropic of Cancer 3 months later, then the sun drops. But all of this period is the summer period, the 6 months of summer, from Aries to Virgo. So then we go down, it drops to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then picks up again and goes up to the equator again at the end of Pisces to meet up with Aries. So if we draw that circularly, we have this, and we have, if we put the solstices in, that's what we get. We get that symbol, the cross. This is the cardinal cross, and we want to focus on the cardinal cross, the cardinal signs today. I always labour the point of the cardinal signs. Most of the energy is there. They are angular. These are the 4 angles, the 4 directions, the 4 winds. We've got Aries over here, we've got Cancer over here, Libra over here, and we have Capricorn over here. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Now I'm going to expand this in a moment because we're going to need it. It's very blurry today. But what happens is these angles are the most influential in all the year because they are opening the seasons. Okay, now let me show you how that happens. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm going to draw this circle here. I'm just going to expand this circle and ignore the rest. So we can see the equator will be here. I'll keep the equator there, and then I'll keep that axis of the solstices. So this 90-degree perpendicular line describes the solstices. This is the equinoxes, March the 21st over here, and September the 21st over here. And then we have June the 21st here, and we have December the 21st down here. So let's expand that, shall we? And what we've got now is this. Okay, so the Tropic of Cancer is now up here, and the Tropic of Capricorn is down here. Okay. Sure, one moment. What I'll do, I just realised I need to shut the curtains behind me because there's too much light. That might help, I think. Yeah. Okay, so can you just... Yeah, lovely. All right, I'm going to try and get some more light onto my board here, folks. Yeah, that's going to help immensely. Tell me if that's better too. I've got the light on there. Let me know, folks. Okay. All right. So what we have, last week we discussed the four holy seasons. And what we have is Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is where the festival season of Christmas occurs. So we've got Christmas over here. And we've got Easter over here. So we discussed that this Capricorn rules the solstice. And so we have a solstitial celebration in Christmas. Then we spoke about Aries, the lamb, the sign of the lamb, and Aries is all about Easter. This is a movable festival. This is a fixed festival based on the sun. Every year, 25th of December, Christmas. Christmas infers the day that the sun begins its journey, because the sun is the smallest at that point. After the 21st of December, the sun is at its smallest. It is an infant, you see, therefore it's born. And we discussed how January is here. January is Janus, or January the baptizer. And then so the sun gets baptized in the wet season, January. Then February turns up. Febur in Latin means purification. So we found that the 1st of February is the day of purification of the Virgin. So we have the 1st of January was Circumcision Day. That's what the name of it, of January the 1st. February the 1st is the day of purification. So we see circumcision, the sun gets circumcised, or in other words, the old year gets cut off. And January the 1st is a new, fresh year. Then we have the baptism. We found that January was once called the month of baptism. Baptismo was the name of January. Then February means to purify, and then Lent occurs here, where the lengthening, Lent is short for the word lengthening, the sun's rays are continuing to lengthen until the very time that the sun, the very moment that the sun overcomes in the sign of Aries. So this is the point of overcoming, you see, or exalting. So let's have a look at the word exalt. And of course, Christians celebrate Easter because the sun is in the east, perfectly east on the horizon. Whereas when it goes to Cancer, it moves to the solstice, and then it goes back to Libra, and then it goes to Capricorn, and it moves away from the center, from due east or due west. So that's why Easter is celebrated over here. And Christians celebrate the memorial of Jesus Christ, the Son, or the resurrection. So we found that the word resurrection has the same inference as exalt. To exalt, to overcome, to resurrect. See, the sun here, the sun has overcome the forces of darkness and winter. And so you have the Lamb. Aries is there. Now, you folks who live in the northern hemisphere, you'll look around and you'll see a lot of white blossoms on the trees. You'll see a lot of, pink blossoms, but mostly you'll see the effect of the sun now overcoming the weak rays of winter. So that's what Lent is all about. Lent is 40 days, and the children of Israel were in the wilderness for 40 days. This is the wilderness because it is below the horizon. Anything below the horizon is the wilderness, you see? So these 40 days of Lent, the sun must lengthen and then overcome. And this is why the resurrection is celebrated in the season of Aries. And we are still in Aries. So I want to focus on that. But also we did mention that there were very holy festivals also in the other cardinal signs. But you will find that all of the sacred festivals hug the tropical angles. They are always happening around the tropical angles because the ancients knew that these were the most powerful, of the sun's forces. These are like stargates, portals. In fact, Macrobius, in the commentary of the Dream of Scipio, mentioned that Cancer is the portal of men and Capricorn is the portal of the gods. And I explained last webinar how the year begins at Capricorn on the 25th of December, the birthday of the sun, and so Capricorn is cardinal Earth, ruled by Saturn, which is the alchemical lead. So this is where the process of transmuting the lead into gold begins. And when you go through all the signs, when you go through all the earth signs, then the water signs, then the air signs, and then the fire signs, and eventually you get to Leo and the sun, you get to the gold. And that's the 11th stage of the philosophical wheel. So we see alchemy in here, and we see how the Jewish and the Christian traditions have always, and even Islam, I showed how Islam has Ramadan, Rama, and Ra meaning the head. Ramadan is always celebrated in Libra, and Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur, the festival of booths, the festival of tents, because now we have to go into tents because winter is coming, so we need to keep warm. The 7-day festival of tents, of tabernacles. And of course we discussed how on this crossing over here is what the Jews call Judgment Day, the equinox of September, Tishri, the beginning of their year. Okay, so this has all been discussed. I'm just recapping last webinar's highlights so that I can go into some more deeper things today. And what I want to dwell on is those portals, those 4 cardinal signs, because we're going to carry this science over into astrology. Astrology deals with I think I've improved that. Let me know if I've improved that, folks. Let's hope I have. Astrology also deals with these 4 signs. They are called angles. See, the angles, the angels, the 4 angels, the 4 winds, the 4 portals. And so these signs here, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, hold most of the power. They open the seasons. Okay? Now, Aries opens to spring. It's the doorway to spring. Cancer opens to summer. It's the doorway to summer. Libra opens to autumn, the fall. And Capricorn opens to winter, the cold winter that the sun must overcome. Now, in astrology, the people born in these signs, Arians, Taurians, and Geminians, they are sanguine. This quarter is sanguine, optimistic. The people born over here are choleric. The people born over here are melancholic. See, melancholy happens over here. This is autumn, the fall, the sadness. The sun has been falling since Cancer, and very much so when it hits Libra. You'll notice that Librans have always got a tinge of sadness, no matter how optimistic they may be, and positive and brilliant. But there's always some sadness with Librans. I have a brother and a sister and a son that are Librans, and I see that sadness. I see the condition of the melancholy. But it's beautiful because it has the melancholy of introspection. You see, the sun now is withdrawing. The sun is withdrawing in September. He's done all his delights. He's given bounteous harvest. You see, the blossom starts here, those beautiful flowers. And then here you begin to see the first fruits. And of course, the Jews celebrate Bikurim in Aries, in Nisan, because Bikurim is the festival of the first fruits. You see, some fruits are turning up in this season. And then of course, as the sun eventually gets to the dog days in Leo, the roar of the lion, that fixed fire sign of Leo, ripens the fruits. And of course, in Virgo, the virgins go out and pick the harvest and bring in the fruits. And so the bread is made. This is the house of bread. Bethlehem, the house of bread, Virgo. So blossom, bread. Blossom, bread. This is wine. And that's why Jesus is standing in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. He has 6 months to his right, and he has 6 months to his left, and he is pointing to the bread and the wine. And he's saying, eat and drink, because these are the symbols of the harvest and of the wine season that the sun produces in the summer. So what we have here is we have 4 portals, and these are the most important days of the year, and they are always respected. Christmas, which is linked to the 21st of December, the solstice. Easter, which is linked to the 1st of March, the equinox. Then we have Cancer, and the 21st of June, and there were sacred festivals here in this season. The marriage of Cana occurs here, and other Jewish celebrations, and then of course lots of Jewish celebrations in Tishri over here. This is Tammuz. This is the month of Tammuz. And Tammuz was also a very important festivity season for the Jews. All right, now what we've noticed, if you've watched my syncretism presentations, you will have seen how when we go back to these 4 signs, Aries, there is the second month of Aries is called April. And April in Latin means to open. Aperio, aprire. In fact, it is spelt like this. Aprire, aprire la porta. Open the door. And the door is always hanging on some hinges. And those are called, in Latin, those are called cardi. Cardinal. Okay, so this is why I spend a lot of time on these 4 points. Okay, these 50% of the strength is in these signs. The sun is most strengthened in these signs. And in fact, Arians, Cancerians, Librans and Capricorns, all things being equal, show a lot of strength. They show these cardinal qualities of forward motion, of lots and lots of directed energy. These are very powerful points. Of course, the mid-season. So this is the middle, May the 1st, that's the middle of spring, May Day. August the 1st, that's the middle of summer. November the 1st, that's the middle of autumn. February 1st, that's the middle of winter. So we have the opening of the seasons and we have the middle of the seasons. And these are the cross-quarter days. So we have 8 holy days. And these days are sanctimonious, well, that's not the right word. These are the days that the sacraments are celebrated and taken. You know, the bread and the wine, the symbols of the year, the symbols of the journeying of the sun. This is the ministry of the sun, as it gives us these 8 holy days. And you'll find that the calendar generally has about 8 holy days. And most of them are fixed on these. Why do we have a holiday on Christmas Day? Because it's a holy day. Why do we have a holiday, you know, traditionally around February the 1st? Ash Wednesday. Because it's a holy day. Or Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. Why do we have an Easter celebration and we don't go to work for 3 or 4 days? Good Friday, Good Monday, rest, because it's a holy day. Why do we have Pentecost up here? The Jews have Pentecost because it's a holy day. All of these 8 days are holy days. Here we have the Festival of Booths, etc., etc. So that's what cardinal means, and we have to open over here, aperio. In fact, in Latin, March used to be called Primus, Secundus, Tertius, Quartus, Quintus, Sextus, and of course, lo and behold, we still carry the name September. That has not changed. September, 7, the 7th month. So Tishri, or Libra, or September, is the 7th month. We in the political calendar, the Julio-Gregorian calendar, we call it the 9th month. But in fact, in the astrological true solar calendar, it is the 7th month. And so Primus is the 1st. And in a minute, we're going to have a look at Bonacci and see his reasons why the year begins in Aries. I have established already many facts why the year begins in Aries. Well, that's where the blossom is. That's the start. Everything starts with a bud, doesn't it? What's a budding musician? Someone who's beginning. So there's the buds. In fact, all the budding celebrations were celebrated here. In Japan, they celebrate Sakura. And they drink under the cherry blossom trees. In good old Rome, they celebrated Flora. Well, Flora's flowers. They celebrated cerealia or cerealia, cereals, on the 15th of March, the 15th of April. Aperio, to open. Now, what I have pointed out too with these cardinal signs is that they still carry the ancient words for opening. Let me explain. I've done this on syncretism, on my syncretism presentations. If you want to elaborate more on all of this science, please go to my syncretism presentations. Whoops. We have, let's drawing the cardinal signs. We have, over here we have April, and that's to open. Over here we have the crab, and which is an anagram or scarab, which is the original word. The scarab is also a zodiacal symbol for Cancer. And you can see from, if you get the word scarab, you can see crab. So it's virtually the same thing. But you can also see that that is an anagram for Abra. Abra Abra also means open. That's why you say abracadabra, open sesame, or whatever. Abra meaning to open, because it's the same apri, abra, abra la puerta, you know, abra la puerta in Spanish, open the door, abra. Then Libra, so there's open, here is open. Is there an open here? Well, let's have a look at Libra. Well, that's an anagram. If you get the A and the B and the R and you get the I, you've got abri, abrire, open. And then, of course, you come up to the Latin word for Capricorn, cabra, or capra in Italian, a P, capra, capri, capricorn, or in Spanish cabra. Well, you can see again the word abra, cabra. It's there. You know, you have to know how words, syllables, and what's the word that? Okay, well, let's leave it at syllables. You have to understand how they have interchangeable letters, where, for instance, abra and apra, you know, you can interchange the P with a B, the S for a T, etc., etc. So what we're noticing here is we're noticing this opening. There's an opening energy. The energy that is happening here is balancing. It is balancing. It's the equinoxes, the 2 balanced days of 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness. And this only occurs here perfectly on the 21st of March and the 23rd of September. So this is these are that moment when there is stillness and balance in light. We have pure light. Light is pure when it's still. So these are the pure days, and the purity of the wool of the lamb describes that. They placed the lamb here on purpose. The wool of the lamb is pure. This is why Jason seeks the golden fleece. This is why in the book of Revelation, the Lamb of God is mentioned 29 times. In every chapter of Revelation, there is a lamb, and it talks about the blood of the lamb slain on behalf of mankind. Yes, because when the sun slays Aries every year, forgiveness. We forget about the past, we forget about the winter and the night, and the darkness and the cold, and we forgive in April. So it's an opening. These 2 signs are religious. They have to do with ecclesiastical concerns. This line, the equinoctial line, is called the line of truth. Here you cannot escape truth. Here is balance. That's why the lamb is called krios in Greek, which means to judge. And we still use the word critique, which comes from krios, the lamb. This is why judges wear the white wool headdress when barristers go into court, and on top of the courtrooms they have the scales of Libra, because these two are the judges. They judge the year. They balance the year. Whereas Cancer, the scarab, and Capricorn, the goat, the capricious goat, the cranky crab, he's cranky, very crabby person, and Cancerians can be a touch crabby, and Capricorns can be a touch capricious. So these feminine signs, water and earth, they have to do with political concerns, material things, governments, kings. This is the government, this is the political axis, the solstices, because the light is not balanced. Here the light is extreme and it's hot. Here the light is diminished and it's cold. But here we have balance and purity and lovely things. So we see we have crabbiness over here, and we have cranky crab, crabby whatever, moon, moody moon, watery, cardinal water Cancer. And then over here we have capricious Capricorn with Saturn, Mr. Serious, Mr. Stern. So we see that this is the kingly and this is the priestly. This is where you balance yourself. This is where you put yourself off balance. So now let's proceed with the astrological part and see how the natural science, astrotheology, merges seamlessly with astrology, because they have to. Because if we are going to be syncretists, if we're going to be embracing syncretism, which denies any religion supremacy and denies any one religion, what's the word I'm looking for, exclusivity to truth, syncretism shows that all of the philosophies and religions can be united into one science, the science of light. For God, the Creator, is light. And so the opposite of syncretism and uniting is what the religious leaders are doing. They are trying to manufacture their own philosophies from this science. And therefore we have thousands of religions claiming to be the true exclusive religions to salvation. Syncretism will put an end to this delusion. And as the great philosopher said, the God that you believe in and the God that I believe in may be different gods, but the God that made you and the God that made me is the same God. So let us now conclude this section of the festivals, the holy festivals, the holy days, the 4 in particular, and then the other 4, the cross-quarter days. I mentioned the cross-quarter days because we need to focus on those with astrology. Now, with astrology, we have this going on. We have over here the AC, the ascendant, because the sun and all the planets and the signs, they ascend here. This is the east. Over here we have the descendant. And here we have the MC, the midheaven. So this is midday. And over here we have the IMC, Imum Caelum, which is midnight. So virtually you've got 6 a.m. in the morning, 12 midday, 6 p.m. sunset, and over here you have 12 midnight, more or less. And so with astrology, when dealing with the houses, there are 12 houses. So the signs are going around, okay? The signs are always going around clockwise. And the planets, the signs and the planets are always going around clockwise, but they are progressing anti-clockwise. Now, so what happens is that the first house is down here now. This is the first house. This is called the rising sign, because this is the first sign that must rise. See, when you're born, on the moment of your birth, you look to the east, and whatever sign is rising, that's the rising sign on the ascendant. And so these 30 degrees, they are the first sign after the moment you are born that must rise. So this is the first sign. Hence this will be the 4th sign. This will be the 7th sign. And this will be the 10th sign. And these are what's called the angular signs. These are the angles. 50% of the power and force of the zodiacal chart is in these signs. You would wish that all of your planets were in these signs. These have the greatest power. And in particular, the first house. This is number 1 in importance, the ascendant. This holds most of the power of the chart, the 4 angles. Then is the midheaven. This has to do with the body, with you, your life. Here is indicated all the things concerning you. That's why it's most important. Here is your career, your honor, your glory, and your distinction. The sun has reached the mid sky. It's midday. This is where you want to exalt and be glorified. Then this is the 3rd in importance, and this is the 4th. So the 4th house is the 4th in power. These are the 4 most powerful signs: the ascendant, the midheaven, the descendant, the IC. And this has to do with marriage and partners. This angle has to do with ancestry, mother and father, and home. And so these angles also have to do with the present. That's why they are so important. You can find information about the now in these 4 angles. Now, and these correspond to the cardinal signs. The next signs in sequence that succeed these signs are called succedent signs because they succeed. They have half of the power of the angular signs. And they are the 2nd house, the 5th house, the 11th house, and the 8th house. They are half as powerful as the angles. And they deal with the future. So we have now in the present, future in the succedent. And so, and then in the next houses, they are very weak. These houses have weakness and deal with weak things and hidden things. They are hidden. They correspond to the mutable signs. So these correspond to the cardinal signs, the angles. The succedents correspond to the fixed signs, which are half as strong. And then these are called cadent signs because they are falling. They are falling in energy. And they have to do with the past. Things dealing with the past are found in these houses. And they are the 3rd house, the 6th house, the 9th house, and the 12th house. Now, in order of strength, I will place the order of strength of the houses. 1st house is number 1. 10th house is number 2. 7th is number 3. 4th is number 4. Now, next is the 11th house. This one. It's the 5th in strength. You want planets in there if you're going to have planets in a succedent house. This is a house of friends. Great fortune is found in this house also. And across to the 5th house, that's the 6th in power. Now, there is one more house included which is the ninth, and then the fortunate houses end and the unfortunate houses begin. And so that would be, so the ninth, so we've got the first house through to the ninth. So we got 1, 10, 7, 4, 11, 5, and 9. Some people include the third as a fortunate. So these are 8 fortunates. So we can include the eighth house in strength, which is the third house, which is the house of brothers. So you will notice something interesting is going on here. Supposedly the cadence signs are weak and no good, but the ninth and the third, which have to do with short journeys and long journeys, these are preferable to the succedent houses. That's very interesting how that happens. But certainly, Firmicus Maternus says when you do the chart of a native, hope and pray that they do not have planets in the 2nd, the 8th, the 6th, and the 12th. Because the 2nd, the 8th, the 6th, and the 12th are the very, very least in strength. And so we see that well, let's start with this one will be the 9th in strength. This one will be the 10th in strength. And this one will be the 11th, and the 12th is the last one in strength. You just don't want planets here, and you don't want Saturn and Mars. Okay, so that's the strength of the houses. So you'll notice though that the 9th and the 3rd, which are cadent houses and are supposed to be very debilitated and very weak, are placed before the 2nd and the 8th. Simply because even though good fortune is found in these homes, like wealth is found here and inheritances from dead relatives and etc. and partners is found in the 8th house, it still has a lot of detrimental dynamics to it as well. So bear in mind that these two cadence signs, the 9th and the 3rd, come before them. And most astrologers acknowledge that you don't want planets here, you don't want planets here, you do not want planets in the house of illnesses, and you don't want planets in the house of enemies, friends. So let's do the houses. You, your wealth, your brothers and sisters, your home, pleasure, illnesses, marriage partners and partnerships, death and transformation, religion, spirituality, dreams, visions, career, fame, glory, distinctions, friends, enemies. Now, I've made that very, very simple because most of the houses have minimum 3 meanings. They have minimum 3 important meanings. And their meanings can be discerned by the lords of the houses. For instance, if the first house here is Leo, let's imagine that this is Leo like I have. I have Leo in the first house, Leo rising. Well, the lords of fire of the triplicity of Leo happen to be the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. Saturn is the co-ruler. So in a day chart, Saturn comes first, then Jupiter, then Saturn. And so if I look at the health and condition of the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn, when it refers to fire, in any house, I can determine how much strength or weakness I will have by looking at how strengthened those orbs are in the chart. And I can determine whether the first part of my life or the middle part or the last part will be stronger or weaker or whatever, based on the strength of those lords of the triplicity. So the lords of fire will always be the Sun, Jupiter and Saturn by day. If you have a night chart, you change the order of the Sun and Jupiter. Jupiter goes first, the Sun comes second, and Saturn is always last. So when you're dealing with your health and your body and you and everything concerning you and your life, how much vitality and strength and success you will have, you need to look at the planets that rule that fire sign, Leo. Even if Aries is here or Sagittarius is here on the ascendant, you will always consult those three to determine the first part, the middle part, and the latter part of your days. But also, you will determine the meanings, the three different meanings of the houses. Because every house has three fundamental meanings. And each ruler of that triplicity is the significator of those meanings. So for instance, if if the first meaning of that house is your health, well, you need to look at the Sun in your chart. If the Sun is healthy, well, you know that you're going to have pretty much good vitality for your whole life. You will be robust. You will be strong. But if your Sun is diminished by squares and oppositions and Saturn and Pluto and Mars, you can rest assured that health will be a challenge in your life. Now, the same thing applies if there is an air sign here. Let's say Libra is on the ascendant. Well, then you have to look at the lords of air. And the lords of air are these: Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. So if you have an air ascendant, be it Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, you will look at the health of Saturn. If Saturn is robust in your chart, let's say you have Saturn trining with Jupiter and Saturn is in Capricorn, well, you can rest assured that you're going to be pretty strong. You're going to be a really robust, physically fit individual. If Cancer is found in the first house, well, then you need to consult the lords of the water triplicity. And by day, if you have a diurnal chart, they would be the moon. No, wait a minute. They would be Venus, then Mars, then the moon. So you need to look at Venus. If you have a water sign as your ascendant, let's say you've got Cancer ascendant, Cancer rising, well, you need to check Venus and see what her condition is. If she is strengthened, if she is in a, let's say Venus is in Taurus, wow, that's beautiful. If she's in Libra, that's beautiful. That's a strengthened Libra, Venus. So you'll know that you'll have some vitality and some robustness. If Capricorn is on the ascendant, well, then you have to look at the lords of Earth. And they would be Venus, the moon, and Mars. And so you would have to look at their condition to determine your body, your vitality, your strength. Because here is the body, the first angle. Of course it's going to be dealing with you. And that's why the ascendant gives you your look. See, I have a Leo ascendant, so I mean, I have the feline, the lion. I mean, I think I must scare some people sometimes. They just there's Leo ascendants can be very, very powerful. You look like a lion, like you're going to pounce on someone. If I had $1 for every time someone said I look like a cheetah or a panther or a leopard, I'd be a billionaire, not a millionaire. So that's why if you have a Gemini ascendant, you'll have the Gemini features, the Mercury look, the skewed facial features. If you have an Aries ascendant, you'll have the Ram. You'll have the nice, strong head features and the big eyebrows, and you're going to be charging. You're going to have aggression coming through. You'll have that look. You'll have the Ram charging. If you have Taurus as your ascendant, you will have the robustness of the bull, the bovine eyes. You'll have bovine features, the nice flappy ears, say, and the nice thick sturdy neck, and the beautiful the Venetian eyes, those bovine eyes. I think they're the most beautiful eyes, and especially in women, because it's a feminine sign. So you see, this is the first angle, and this tells about the body. And the lords of the element. Let's do that. Let's notice something here, shall we? So we notice we have fire, then air, and these are masculine elements. And then we have feminine elements, water and earth. And we noticed that the day planets, the planets that enjoy that belong to the diurnal sect, are always in the masculine signs. So the lords of fire are the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. We notice that the lords of air are Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. And lo and behold, those planets belong to the day sect. Masculine energy, positive, day, light, not darkness. These are dark signs, you see, and these will have to do with the planets that prefer the darkness. And they would be, water is Venus, Mars, and the Moon. They belong to the night sect. So it's easy to tell. So whenever you're dealing with houses, you look at the element of the sign in the cusp of the house, and say you're in the fifth house, and there is a fire sign there, Sagittarius. Well, you know that you need to look to the lords of fire to see what they bring in the chart. If those three planets are all diminished, you can rest assured that you won't get a lot of pleasure out of your life. But if these planets are strong, there's a lot of pleasure coming through into your life. And that's determined by the fifth house. Okay, now Earth is also Moon, Venus, Mars. Again, the night sect planets. So you've got night sect, day sect. You can never be confused. You can never put Mercury down here with water and earth. He's always going to be a day boy. And so, but the order of these changes if you have a night chart, a nocturnal chart. So the middle signs go first in a night chart, but in a day chart they always end up being in the middle. So they deal with the middle of a matter. They deal with the middle of your life if it's the first house. If it's the 10th house, it's the middle of your career. If it's the 7th house, it's the middle of your marriage relationship. So, for instance, if the first planet, if you've got fire in the 7th house and your sun is totally badly aspected, you can probably expect your first marriage is not going to be a good one. If the first meaning of the 7th house has to do with your marriage partner. Now, I can check that, which I will. I'll do that now, actually, because I want to give you some let's have a look. Okay, look, I'll get to that in a minute, because I do want to. We can do that next week. Let's do that next week. So next week we'll deal with the first concern of a house, the second concern, and the third concern. Okay, because I've still left stuff here that needs to be addressed. So I'm going to wind it up in about 5 or 10 minutes too, friends, and I'll leave a bit of time for questions. I don't want to do a long presentation like last week, one and a half hours maximum today. I'll be happy to do that. I've done 6 hours of radio shows and presentations and chart readings today, so I'm pretty good for sharing today. So what we've done is we've looked at the angular houses, and you do want to hope that you have most of your planets in those houses, and that's 1, 4, 7, and 10. The ascendant, the MC, the descendant, and the IMC. You, opposite you, is your partner. Your home base, your work base, your home and ancestry. And then opposite that is, okay, I don't know what happened there, guys. That must have been my mistake somehow. I've got no idea how that happened, because I didn't touch anything. Well, I hope I didn't. My mouse is way over here. So, all right, look, what I was saying then is that we have the AC, the DC, the descendant, and the MC, and we see the name of Adam there, ADM. And then we've got the IMC, and those are your angles. So consult those angles. In my chart, I have well, okay, let's do that. Because so okay, you guys know me. I know a few of you guys, but you definitely know me. Now you know that I'm a fiery person. Leo sun sign, trining with Mars in Leo, which is my ascendant. So there's a hell of a lot of fieriness there. But you also know that I love theology. You know that. You know I love astrology. You know I love the esoteric sciences. So let's have a quick glance at some of my angles. Just quickly. My AC is Leo, my ascendant, and Firmicus Maternus says on the page in the book where he deals with, in the 5th book in Mathesios, where he deals with the ascendants, with the angles, he says this about Leo. Many toils and dangers are indicated by the ascendant in Leo, but great fame throughout life. The native will be freeborn, have unlimited power, and never use his power for evil. He will secure his possessions by his own efforts and attain power of command. Okay, yeah, that pretty much applies to me. I can vouch for all of that. Dangers, toils, I've had many, many toils. It's everything I know has come through sweat. 5% inspiration, 95% sweat. I have toiled. I'm not worn out, but I've never had a real just easy life. I've had to teach myself everything I know, languages, music, the quadrivium. It's all come through my own efforts. That's what it says. It says he will attain power of command through his own efforts. All right. Now, my Gemini is here in the 10th house. Gemini? Well, already you should know Gemini is the twins. So if my career has to do with two things, well, yeah, I'm known for my music and I'm known for my astrotheology / syncretism. That's two things. Some people don't know that I do astrology. They just know me as a musician. And I tell them, oh yeah, I'm teaching astrology. They're like, what? So they don't know. But there's a good portion of people that only know that I'm a musician. So Gemini indicates that. But Gemini on the MC indicates an income from public or sacred occupations. Well, yeah. But only at the threshold of old age. The native will be a cultivator of the gods and religious rites, obeyed by a large number of citizens, a seeker after hidden things, knowledgeable in many skills and systems. That would be syncretism. In the last age of life, he will be pointed out for his upright and correct life. Now, that's what Gemini does. If you've got the MC in Gemini, rejoice, because uprightness is what you're concerned with. Sagittarius, well, leave it at that. I mean, already my two most important angles, okay, they clearly show that I am who I say I am. I say that I love theology. Well, the heavens are witnessing to that fact. So get to know your angles, friends, because your angles will testify to who you are. They are 50% of your chart. 50% of your chart is in the angles, and the other 50% is found in the succedent and the cadent signs. Alrighty, thank you very much. I'm about done for today's lesson. Now, next week, that's what I forgot to say. Remember, Cindy, I was saying that since daylight saving last Sunday here in Melbourne, in Australia, we've lost you North Americans and South Americans, you've lost a couple of hours, so it's really late at night now. For you, some of you, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, that's not going to suit, so we will change the time for next week. I only have 2 more presentations that I want to get out before I go to Ecuador on the 30th of April. So I'll probably be able to squeeze in a third, but I might need to cancel that. So bear in mind, but we are going to bring it forward a couple of hours. I'll be doing my presentation here starting at 3 p.m. So please keep that in mind. We will post this and we will... Now, I was reading from Firmicus Maternus, guys. This is my favorite workbook. But if you really want to get a great workbook, I don't know which one to choose between Bonacci, the 13th century pre-Renaissance astrologer, who basically based all of his stuff on these guys anyway, Abu Mashar and Al-Kabizi. Now, I do like the Arabic astrologers. Another favorite of mine is Al-Biruni. And but if you really want a great astrological book, folks, this one is going to top the bunch. There's so much wisdom here. Introductions to Traditional Astrology, Abu Mashar and Al-Kabizi. These guys were Arabic Islamic astrologers. Of course, remember, in Islam, astrology was accepted as a science. Of course, when the Hasidic, sorry, not the Hasidic, the Husseini monotheistic Arab families took control of Islam and hijacked it, they what's the word I'm looking for? They changed the stature of astrology to pseudoscience. Why? Because everything can be determined and ascertained from the chart. Your health, your future perspectives, many great things. This is why billionaires adhere to astrology and have the best astrologers, and because they ride their angles, they ride the energy and the crest of the wave. When the good energy is coming in, they make sun while the hay. They make hay while the sun is shining. Whereas the rest of the educated people that are taught to believe that it's a pseudoscience and it's from some devil, there's a devil somewhere, and he's trying to deceive people with his crafty astrology. I mean, it's mind-blowing how stupid and pathetic people are. And it's irritating, it just irritates me when idiots are happy to denounce something they know nothing about. Nothing about. Now, if you're dealing with astrology and you're dealing with degrees, minutes, and seconds, that would be science. And if you're dealing with equinoxes and degrees of relationships between the planets, that's science. It's not hocus pocus, wishy-washy, willy-nilly stuff. All right. So questions, please. If you want to jump in. Do I need to mute here, Cindy, please? I don't know what I need to do with this software. Do I need to mute? I'll do that. And okay, we'll look for
Can you hear me?
eclipses. Okay.
Hello, Santos?
Well, eclipses are when planets are on the same declination. Simple as that. You see, the sun in astrology is always on the ecliptic at 0 degrees. Now, interesting you should ask this about eclipses, because on the 22nd of April, Mars will be at the same declination as the Sun. So when we talk about conjunctions in astrology, let's say we have see what happens with eclipses. We're going to have an eclipse in May, or two of them. What happens is the moon forms a syzygy, a complete line between sun, moon, and earth. So the moon blocks out the sun. Now, that's because the moon is crossing, it's crossing the ecliptic, or the equator, the plane of the earth. So, all right, let's you see, when you have, say, the sun and Mars in conjunction, they might be on different declinations, because Mars is a very erratic planet. He declines steeply from the plane of the sun, the plane of the orbit of the sun. So Mars has a steep inclination. So very rarely do they find themselves on the ecliptic when they come together on the same declination. They might be at the same right ascension. See, we're just dealing in right ascension here. That's all we're dealing in. Mostly astrology, unless you look at the declination, unless you look at the declination, you will never know whether there's going to be eclipse of those planets, because they have to be on the same longitude as latitude. let's explain that. For instance, with the Earth, there's the equator, and you have latitude lines going all the way to 90 degrees to the pole there. So this will be 50 degrees latitude. But then longitude, you see, those are the lines. Longitude, that's the same as right ascension of meridian. But latitude, when the planets are on the same latitude or parallel or on the same declination, that's like an eclipse. You know, they are in the same, exactly in the same area in the sky. Because you can look out at night when the moon is conjunct Jupiter, for instance, and they might be, you know, very, very, very far away from each other, and you just wonder how can they be conjunct when they're so far, but they're on the same longitude, but not the same latitude, which is declination, and that causes eclipses. Alrighty, another question. Lunar eclipse on the 25th, yeah, of May. Solar eclipse on the, I forget, a couple of weeks earlier. Why most charts put Aries on the right, I don't understand. Aries goes wherever he's found. For instance, in my chart, oh, I see. I think I know what you mean. Yeah. All right, I'm with you. Yeah. All right. What happens sometimes is you have, this is what they do. They put Aries over here. Aries, and they go this way. And they put Cancer here. And they put Libra here. And Capricorn over here. Yeah. Well, that's because that's the true rotation of the signs or the planets going around the Earth. They do go this way. You see, it's anti-clockwise. So, but see, these are all just graphs. These do not describe north, south, east, and west. They're just graphs. So, but usually, on the other hand, they put Aries over here, and they go that way to Cancer. Cancer is down here, and Capricorn is up here. Libra's still over here. So there's many ways of doing this. Don't be confused with graphs. All right, one more question then, folks. That'll be nice. Heliacal rising of Sirius. I'll tackle that one. Okay. Heliacal rise of Sirius is when you just get a glimpse of Sirius in the morning. So you look to the east, the sun hasn't risen yet, but you get a glimpse of Sirius for but a few short minutes, and then the sun, the sun's rays, the sun comes up, and she disappears. That's a heliacal rising of a planet. And then you have, what's the other two risings? There's a rising when the stars come up with the sun, and then there's a rising when the stars come behind the sun. And I just forget right now because I'm tired. I just forget what they're called. Okay, there's a lot of questions there. I'll try and grab one more. Oh, okay, that's what's happened. I've gone to some old questions that have already been answered. Why does can astrology help you find your life's purpose? Of course it can. Absolutely it can. Look to the MC, look to the 6th house. There is where you will find your work ethic in the 6th house. In the 12th house, you will find your career. If water is there, like Cancer, you will prosper with water. If fire is there, you will prosper with jobs that do deal with inspiring people. For instance, selling, coaching people. If Earth is there, like Virgo, you'll be good with crafts, decorating. Look at just look at research any astrological website and find out what Capricorn signifies for careers, or if Capricorn is in the MC. Look at the MC. Look at the planets that are there. If Uranus is there, well, you're going to be you better be your own boss. You don't want a boss. Uranus is rebellious. You're not going to tolerate a boss telling you what to do. So you can see this is how astrology is so important. If Uranus is in your 1st house, like myself, there he is, right under the AC. You're going to be a rebel. James Dean had Uranus right on the AC, right on the degree of the ascendant, smack on. No wonder he features in a film called Rebel Without a Cause, because he's a rebel. Uranus is in his 1st house. Check it out. Check out all the people that have got Uranus in the 1st house. Check out all the people that have had Uranus in the 10th house and see that they are revolutionary. They might have invented something that new. They might be individualistic when it comes to their career. Totally independent. Totally unique out of the box. Non-conformist. All right, guys, look, there's so many beautiful questions there, and it's delightful to see so much participation. Unfortunately, we're always at a race against time. That's a sad thing. I would love nothing more than just answer questions and help and illuminate and train, etc. But okay. Thank you. That's about it. There's so much more to do, but I'm very sorry if I didn't get to your questions, folks. But hopefully, if I can, when I get back from Ecuador, I can do probably 2 webinars, one just for questions, because I would prefer to do questions like this where many are benefiting from the answer than one-to-one email responses. I do a lot of this. People write to me with 5 or 6 questions, and I would just way prefer to have a session like this where I can answer a question to 100 people than just to one person. It's just a waste and a drain of my energy. So, but I appreciate that I'm leaving a lot of questions. I'm foregoing a lot of questions too. So, what can we do? We're all limited here. Please hope and pray that syncretism will be back on this planet firmly as it was many thousands of years ago. And there's plenty of evidence that syncretism was the way, the path of light that we all followed once upon a time when we were much more conscious. So please do your utmost, folks, as I am, to re-establish syncretism, the one and only true faith, so that we don't have any exclusivity anymore on this planet, which causes division and hatred. And all people, so, you know, Jesus can be everybody's, not just the Jehovah's Witnesses. Christ can belong to everybody, not just the Catholics and the Mormons. You know, ISIS can belong to everybody, not just the Muslims. Buddha is everybody's, not just the Buddhists. And that's the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be this way. These orbs, these gods or angels or angels. You see, churchgoers, they don't like the word gods. Oh, all gods are bad because there's only Jehovah and he's good. And this is how they've been trained, the idiots. And yet, don't they realize that angels mean gods? It's the same thing. And so they honor angels. Oh, yes, they're allowed to honor angels. Oh, Gabriel and Michael, and they're just gods. Michael's the sun. When a churchgoer says, oh, Michael, archangel, they're talking to the sun. Gabriel is the moon. Raphael is Mercury. Samael is Mars. So they honor the angels in one breath, but they denounce the gods. It's just the same word. In Egypt, they call them netters. And from that, we get the word nature. So we honor nature because nature is produced by light. And light proceeds from the Creator. Okay. Carpe diem and omnia vincit veritas. Thank you. Catch you next week.